Okay, we're in round 2 on the draw, and this hand is certainly keepable. Very nice. We get another turn 3 Accursed Witch, so that is very good. Ooh. Get to leave up murder at some point as well. So we are curving out very nicely here. Wharf Infiltrator. Well, the good news is we can block it. The attacks I will block. I'm not playing captive to, you know, not play it there. Okay, well, this is kind of cool. So, he's got 3 mana up. They have 3 mana up. I'm going to have 4 mana, so let's play our second swamp. I can play Concoction. I do want to deal with the Infiltrator, because if I tap down this turn, they can get a loot. Maybe I just let them have a loot. I really don't want my Accursed Witch to get its existence denied. And I kind of want to deal with the Wharf Infiltrator. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking this and it's just okay to slam the Witch. I have all the ways to deal with the Infiltrator the following turn. But there's a lot of bounce effects and stuff, so maybe let's just play the Concoction. And what this lets me do is a few things. End of turn, clear shot the Wharf Infiltrator and just get it out of the way, or grapple with the past if I want to as well. So I'm putting myself a turn behind on Accursed Witch, but I feel like this plays it a little bit safer. Lone Rider, okay. That's no problem. Okay, so 2 mana up, it could be like Unsubstantiate or something. Can also grapple. I think we're just going to clear shot. Okay, they have 6, so that's all good. So, okay, now we have 5 mana. Let's just play our Accursed Witch and leave up the Concoction. Sure. I'm not going to use the Concoction here. I mean, I guess I can and discard the land. And I still have Murder for later. Alright. I talked myself into it. I mean, it's going to be a problem at some point, so might as well. And we have Delirium now too, which is nice. Certain Death. Alright, why don't we grapple first? We'll do 2 green to leave up the double black. So we could do a land that puts us in certain death range, but I kind of like having a survivalist here because we have Delirium, so I'll take that. despite being unable to play it here. I still think that's okay. So let's just attack with a Cursed Witch. I could actually murder the captain. Let's do that. And the reason I'm doing this is just 4 points of damage, and blocking Cursed Witch later is not going to be good for my opponent. So if I didn't have the certain death, I'd be a little more hesitant to do this, but because I've just got all of the removal. Okay. Mutation there is actually pretty good. I mean, our witch is going to be able to block now, but one card left in our opponent's hand. Foul Blood, but we want to play the Survivalist here. Nagging Thoughts, okay. Lone Rider, Faithbearer Paladin. There's some good synergy. So put Ethereal Guidance in the graveyard. I like seeing that card. Card is much worse than Borrowed Grace. Can't imagine opponent can profitably attack here. I mean, I'll trade off my witch if he wants. If they want. So, can't play our 6 drops. It's not a huge deal, though. Let's swing with the Survivalist here. Alright, Survivalist is going to come in. Play the Foul Blood. And pass. Okay. Wretched Griff. Okay, Wailing Ghoul. So, can't play our 6 drops yet, but that's not a huge deal. So let's swing with the Survivalist and the Foul Blood. Alright, we're kill the Paladin, get the lifelink off of there. And then we'll play a Ghoul. Hopefully not mill 2 lands. I actually milled 2 non-lands, so it's kind of optimal. Although the grapple would have gotten us a land, I guess, but it's still not what we were looking for, because we just want to draw a land and be able to cast Certain Death right away. Or the Dire Swine. I mean, either one's going to be a big problem our opponent's got to deal with. All right. So I guess we don't even need to certain death now. Now we can actually go dire swine. So let's just swing with the survivalist here. All right. I think our opponent's just dead next turn. Okay. So we'll show them so they can play Spectral Reserves. I think if I show them a priest and a land, they're going to want to take the other one. So I'm actually going to show them a reserves and a land because I want them to take the other pile because I don't care if they have priest, but reserves could actually buy them a little bit of time. Probably not either way. Honestly, I don't think either pile is going to be good enough, but since I don't want them to have the reserves and I want them to have the priest, it makes more sense, I think, to show them the reserves. And they did fall for it. They took the... So they ended up with the pile that I preferred them to have. And I think they're just dead now, right? 6 toughness defending against our 11. Maybe not. Maybe we do actually have to cast certain death here. Not that that's a big deal. Could do the rabid bite instead, but let's just deal with this guy here. Okay. So blue-white, saw some flyers. We see a little bit of Lone Rider synergy with the Faithbearer Paladin, Werf Infiltrator, which isn't even that great against us. We've got the Ghoul, Dryad, Double Dryad, Ghoul, Captive. So we have plenty of means of blocking it. Just as before, I don't think we have any sideboards that we need to do. Our deck is looking very good here, so let's just run it back. All right, this hand is satisfactory. Obviously needs a little bit of early gasoline, but that's okay. Oh, well, there you have it. Ghoul is actually a fantastic draw because it's going to be able to block a Werf Infiltrator as well, or a Lone Rider. Okay. 2 lands. Niblis. All right. So we can actually pick off the Niblis here. I think we're actually going to do it while our opponent's tapped out so they don't do something spicy in response. So what do we prioritize higher early? The Hunter or the Survivalist? I think actually the Hunter. Especially if our opponent's not making plays here. So let's go Hunter. Okay. So Desperate Sentry or Faithbearer Paladin. So we prefer them to not have the Faithbearer Paladin. So I think we're going to show them a Faithbearer Paladin and another island because they might need that second white. If I show them a Desperate Sentry and a land, I think they're going to take the other card. And if I go Desperate Sentry, Island, Plains, I think they'll get the Paladin. And mostly I just don't want them to have the Paladin. So we'll see if the trick works again. It may not. It's really not a huge deal either way. Our opponent this time did choose the right pile, but we have the Sinister Concoction, so it really, like I said, it really doesn't matter. Like, I don't even have to concoction right away. Okay. Nagging Thoughts feels a little bit out of place in my opponent's deck. Okay. Desperate Sentry. They do have Delirium, though. Still nothing I'm very concerned about. Field Creeper. Okay, well, that could get us Delirium, but I want to flip my Hunter so I can block the Sentry or attack into it at some point and just leave up Concoction. So I think we're going to do that. I mean, I guess another option I can do is just play the Dryad and the Creeper now. That's not bad, actually, because then I can actually still leave up. All right, let's just get our spells out of the way. I said I wanted to flip the Hunter, but our opponent's got 5 lands, 4 cards in hand. There's a chance they could just play 2 spells on their turn, so why don't we just get a big force down, leave up the Concoction, although, honestly, I don't want to discard either of these cards, but just emergency use only Concoction here. And I can start swinging for the fences with my Field Creeper to turn on my Gnarlwood Dryad. A Curse Switch is a very good draw, so alright, let's swing with the Creeper. And we'll play the Witch. Our opponent is deliberately, I imagine, foregoing playing the True Faith because of the Concoction, and I'm fine with that. We're still handily winning this race. So there's a Lone Rider. Okay. That's not a big deal. There's our 5th land. Okay. So, like I said, I don't really want to discard either of these to Concoction. But at the same time, the Lone Rider kind of keeps the Creeper at bay. I can get Delirium at any time. So let's just play the land. And I guess if I was going to discard one, it'd probably be the Survivalist, just to have the ace in the hole certain death, given that our board is already sort of pretty highly advanced. So let's swing with our Accursed Witch. And I think at this point I'm comfortable flipping my Hunter. Huh, okay. Still fine flipping my Hunter here. Oh wait, I played a spell? Oh, my opponent played Mutation. So well, thing is, like I said, I still kind of want to discard Survivalist. over the certain death, because certain death is just going to be able to deal with more things. Epiphany, which is a card I actually like. So my opponent can split up the piles here. I don't really care if they have Constable. I'm probably just going to end up, yeah. If they do this, this is a real bad split for them. This is a very unwise split. I think if I were them, my split would be Drag Under, Constable Land, and Haunter Island. There you go. They figured it out. So now I'm still going to give them the... Oh, all right. They split it back to the bad split, which is good for us. Yeah, that was an unwise split. So we'll give them the Constable and the 2 lands. Crow. Well, that could give us Delirium. So... or I can try and flip my Hunter and maybe even ditch the Crow. But the Crow can also block the Haunter, which I like. It feeds our Delirium. Like I said, we're not in a rush. Really no reason to rush here. So I think we're just going to play the Crow. See if we can't get Delirium. Alright, we're up to 3 card types, so... The Concoction will give us Delirium regardless of what we discard. So let's pass. Okay, so opponent has decided it is time. And a Stern Constable, sure. So we can use the Concoction now. I still think we're going to wait. If I draw a land, I'd like to be able to just play it and use Certain Death. And then maybe future lands I can use for Concoction. I mean, I'd prefer to not discard Survivalist if I don't have to, you know. But we'll see. Okay, so we did get the land. Why don't we just get rid of this guy? In fact, I guess we can even swing with our Crow. Because we're going to be ahead on the race here. And Certain Death is going to actually give us Delirium as well. Which is pretty nice, actually. So, let's just attack with Crow. And then we'll Certain Death the Paladin. Alright. So we have Delirium now, which is great news. And any future land can be used for Concoction. Since Survivalist is a 4-mana 5/4 trample, I prefer to not discard it now. And once again, as stated, we're up on the race now, so I don't really care about our opponent's Stern Constable so much. They really can't profitably attack us when we've got this Accursed Witch out either. Sure. Concoction is sort of our ace in the hole for that lone rider if it ever flips. Well, I guess it's not an ace in the hole, is it? It's an ace that our opponent clearly knows about. Our opponent really just cannot profitably attack on the ground, which is important to note. We're still ahead on the race, by the way. Okay, so now we have the concoction. So that does mean we can play the survivalist, but for now I think we're just going to see what our opponent taps. No taps, okay. Well, if I attack with Dryad, I think I just block with Sentry. Although then that kind of clears the way. Yeah, you know, it's actually fine. So let's attack with the Dryad and the Crow and let them block with the Sentry, because with Survivalist and Solitary Hunter, I think we're going to be, oh, that's okay too, I guess. They'd rather keep the Sentry around. I guess that makes sense. Still ahead on the race, by the way. And we've got Concoction whenever we need it. Yeah, Mornwillow is quite insane here. So my opponent can tap down something with Constable, which means tap the Survivalist. My opponent would still take 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, but they can block with the Sentry, I see. So I think that means we're still fine, actually. We play the Mornwillow. We could actually... No, that's okay. So we'll play the Mornwillow. Like I said, our opponent's going to tap the Survivalist. It's not a huge deal. Okay, so we move to combat. I could concoct the Sentry now, but he'd still be able to block with the Eldrazi Horror, so it's not a huge deal. Tapping the Survivalist as expected. So I think we're just going to slam in with Field Creeper, Crow, Mornwillow. If I do Hunter, it's a snap block, but then my opponent takes 7. Let's just attack with these 3. We'll flip the Hunter at some point. And then I guess our opponent will be able to tap it down, but if I make the trade now, he has to start tapping this down every turn. I can also concoction. Well, yeah, I can concoction one of his tappers. I'm a little bit less interested in doing that, but all right, let's just swing with these 3. I mean, opponent's blocks are not good here, regardless. And that's a pretty satisfactory trade for us. Okay. Kind of happy our Wailing Ghoul has managed to hold back that Wharf Infiltrator the whole game. It's kind of a big reason why I'm not a big fan of this card. So it looks like our guy's going to flip, which is good. I mean, it does mean he's going to be able to tap it down, but he's going to have to start discarding here. Ooh, that's pretty insane. So now we can just grapple. Yeah, that's very profitable for us here. We grapple back the Morn Willow. Yeah, that's going to be a problem for our opponent big time. So let's bring back Morn Willow. So let's see what our opponent taps before we decide if we want to concoct here. Okay. Tapping that. Tapping that. So our opponent's at 8. We can attack for 8. Right? 2, 4, 7, 8. So we can attack with everything and then concoction the horror. If I do that and my opponent has something, we're not at risk of dying on the backswing. So I think we go for lethal here. So attack with everything, concoction the horror. Is this dangerous? Maybe a bit, but the thing is my opponent still can't really swing on the ground once we get the Witch online, even if he were to flip his Lone Rider. It might be a problem. Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. I mean, the conservative play... The conservative play would just be Field Creeper, Crow, Morn Willow. But I think we're okay with it. Well... Should I play it? Let's play it cautiously. Well, it just feels like 2 cards in hand. Although I feel like if our opponent had something, wouldn't they have played it by now? All right, let's just go for it. This could be dangerous. Hopefully not. So we concoct the 1 blocker. Our opponent tapped to make us feel like he had something, they had something. Sorry that I keep doing, I know, the gender neutral thing. I know it's probably annoying, but it turns out there's a lot of women Magic players. A lot have popped into this stream, and there's a lot more women Magic players than I actually thought there were. So I was pleasantly surprised to see how many women stop out at the stream that play Magic and play online too. So I shouldn't just, automatically assume every opponent I'm playing with is a guy. There's an actual much more active woman Magic player community than I realized. So I'm trying to do the they instead of, because I don't know what they are. All right. Either way, hope you enjoyed the match. We'll see you in round 3.